Hi, it's me again with CorelDraw tips and tricks. Somebody sent me this fish that they want to engrave and they'd like to put scales on it. So I kind of did it real fast and, maybe I'd change a few things, but they'll get the idea. And for the one I'm doing it for, I reduced it in size quite a bit. I've got my nudge factor set on 5 inches. I always make a duplicate of it in case I mess up. I've got the original back. I'm going to go to Trace Bitmap, Outline Trace Clip Art. Does it really fast and really good. Now we can move the original out of the way. We're going to use the yellow box trick. I'm going to take the rectangle, fill it with yellow, go up to Object, Order, back a page, and you see it's got white in it. So we're going to grab it. We're going to go to Object and Group or Ungroup, which would be Control U. And then we're going to hit the black, and you can see I've got white. But when you hit the black, it should be the whole thing, and it's going to show you black. And I'm going to move that over. And the only thing left is this eyeball, and I'm going to move it over. I actually did this, and this looks pretty cool. I'm going to turn all the black to white, and there's a pretty cool fish to engrave right there. Totally different look than the other one. So now we've got our fish with no white in it. Now we need to work on the scales, and I just did one I've done many times before. Really easy. I am going to draw an ellipse, and I'm going to make it a 1/2 inch. Now that's going to be real big right now, but we can reduce it in size. We're actually going to move way over here so we can make a lot of them. It's a 1/2 inch, so I'm going to change my nudge factor to a 1/2 inch, 0.5. I'm going to Control D and make a duplicate and move it over, and then Control D and make a lot of them. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to select them all and move them over here. That's way more than I need. But now I'm going to change my nudge factor to a 1/4 inch, 0.25. I'm going to grab I moved the fish's eye out of the way. Let me back up. Let me just grab these. That's all I really need. And we'll just delete these because we do need the eye. So I've got these. I'll change my nudge factor to 0.25, which is half that. I'm going to go ahead and group these together, Control G, and I'm going to make a duplicate, and I'm going to nudge them up and over. And what that really and truly, I messed up. I only needed to make one of them, but you kind of get the idea. So it's smarter just to, let me change my color in my Smart Fill tool to something else. Let's make it red right now. That's the shape I need. I didn't need to make those duplicates. Anyway, then take this and left click, right click. Now we've got our nudge factor. We need to set it on that 1/2 inch, and we're going to Control D and move them over. That's more than plenty. And you kind of see we've almost got the other shape. Control G, Control D, and then do that. And you just keep going. You always want to make more than you think you need, because we're going to Control G to group them. I'm going to make them something other than a hairline. I am going to hit F12 on the keyboard, and I'm going to change it to Scale with Object, because when we reduce this, now I'm going to rotate this a -90 degrees to get the scales going in the right direction. I'm going to reduce it quite a bit. I'm going to bring in our fish that we traced. And then from here on out, don't move the fish. But we need a vessel. We don't want there to be scales on every part of the fish. So I'm going to just take the 3-point curve line, and I'm going to go from about there to there, and I'm going to put a line. And then I'm going to go on his tail. Most fish don't have, and if you know more than I know, then you just put that line wherever you want. And then I'm going to put a line here so it doesn't go down in the crack of those other lines. So that should be all sealed up. I'm going to take my Smart Fill tool, and then I'm going to nudge it. Let me go back and let me change my nudge factor like to 5 or 4 inches. Let me nudge that color out of the way. Let me left click, right click. And at this time, I can make my scale quite a bit smaller. And I could actually stretch them out a little bit. But you'd want to maybe make your shape a little bit better. Now I can see the line. So now I'm going to select it all and I'm going to go right here to intersect. And what the intersect did, it made that graphic. I'm going to, before I bring it into my fish, I'm going to get rid of my lines. And like I said, you could play around with the shape and do whatever you want, but there are scales on a fish. Now you could probably actually bring them down in here. Let's actually do that. Let's get rid of this box and let's just, you know what? Let me back up till I have those lines. Excuse me. And we're gonna, if we don't want scales down in here, but so what we could do is take away this line and we could take our, and I'm just making suggestions. We could use the 2-point line to go like from there to there and there to there. And that's going to stop the smart fill from getting into those parts. That might look pretty good. So now we're going to get rid of our original by hitting delete. We're going to take this and nudge it over. I'm going to left click, right click. Now we just have the outline. I'm actually going to move the scales up just a little bit. Right there, that'll work. Select them both, intersect, and then remove my lines. You could do this one of two ways, where you want to get rid of those hairlines. And then take the intersect and, well, that's the part, but now I'm going to take this. And that looks pretty good. And you could, you could change it up quite a bit. This looks pretty good because it's non-consistent, here. I mean, you could put him all the way to his tail. That wouldn't be a problem. Let's just do that. That might look pretty good. Let's take away that line. Well, oh, that's my original line. Let me just redraw the lines real quick. I'm still going to use the 3-point curve line. I'm going to go from about right there to right there and put a little curve to it. I'm going to leave that open. So I can use my 3-point curve line as a straight line or semi-straight line and just not, actually we can put a little bit of a curve to it, see what happens. But the other lines are going to stop it. So let's get rid of these lines. Let's take the Smart Fill tool and fill this in. That's going to look pretty good. Move it over. Now we've got quite a bit longer, so we should either made our scales longer or we can stretch them out. I think it'll actually work filled, but I always take away so I know that I've got the lines. Select them all, intersect, grab it, and move it over. Now I did not take away my lines, but I can take them away now. And this is a good way to learn. Just Corel will not let you grab unless you grab the whole thing. That looks pretty good. I think that's actually better. All the way, the scale. You could quite possibly grab that and turn it gray. And that's pretty weird. It's only making half of them gray. And that doesn't look too bad stretched out. I kind of like that. Anyway, let's see what it looks like on a background of, let's say you're going to print on a dark blue shirt or the Rebecca page. Of course, those are white. Well, they're really gray. They just look white against the background. We could probably take it and, that you probably don't want. You won't want an eye, but let's take this and let's make it a little bit darker. That looks pretty good. Anyway, I don't know if they're printing or engraving. If they're printing, I would just do the lines. Or if they're engraving, I would just do the lines. Anyway, I hope that helped them a little bit. Thank you for watching.